It's Brandon Wright, Right Stuff Media. And I'm trying out this Mevo here in my home office to use the whiteboard and show you a number that is very crucial for me in my business over the years. And that's your break-even number. And your break-even means I need to make this amount of money per year or per month before I make a profit. And this is really a number that a lot of people don't know, or they don't know how to calculate it, but it's really simple, and it's one of those things that when you have a business owner like myself, I'm not a numbers guy. I don't get excited about going into the financials of my business and then calculating and figuring and budgeting and forecasting, but I have to do it. And I think any successful business has to have the owner become a financial manager of the business. That means you need to have flash reports. That means you need to have the different statistics and the formulas to know really, is my business healthy or is my business suffering? But at the same time, a break-even number also allows you to really set a budget, figure out, am I making money? How much money do I need to make this month before I start making a profit? And then knowing that number, it allows you and your team to reach that goal. And that's your goal, right? You want to break even, because if you don't break even, which 80% of businesses, 80% of small businesses are either at break even or they're losing money. So that means there's only 20% of businesses out there that are profitable. So here's a little number that I'm going to teach you that I like. Okay, and hopefully you can see the whiteboard here. But your break-even number comes from your profit and loss. So your profit and loss, this is how it should be set up. Now, I've looked at lots of businesses, and this is one of the things that when I go in and do a turnaround in a company, meaning that the company's not making money or the company has issues, this is a number that we always dive into on the first or second day, because we have to know this. So a good profit and loss, you're going to have revenue, you're going to have direct costs. Your revenue is how much money am I billing out? So it doesn't mean how much money you've collected, but it means how much money have I billed out. Direct costs means what costs is it that directly ties into the production of the service that we're doing or the product. So for example, if you're a contractor like I was, this would be labor. This would be materials. This could be the fuel for the technicians going to the job. So everything that's a direct cost should be in here. So if you take your revenue, which I'm just saying on this company, $550,000, a direct cost, $260,000, that leaves you with what I believe is the most important number in your financial profit and loss, and that's your gross profit. So your gross profit is $290,000. And that right there is the profit left over from your revenue from your direct costs. Now, you then have your overhead. Now, your overhead is typically going to be a consistent number. That means you're going to have so much per month that you have to pay rent. You have to pay for your cell phones. You have to pay for the telephone system. That's your insurance. So these are numbers that are pretty consistent that you can rely upon, that you know in this particular company, it's going to be $175,000 a year. So, and this might be kind of low for this type of size of business, but I think these are really good relative numbers. So if you take your gross profit minus your overhead, you're left with a net profit of $115,000. Now the net profit is what's left over. Now this doesn't mean this is how much that you earn for the year. What this means is that this is typically what's left after you've paid your overhead, but it leaves out the owner's compensation. It leaves out a lot of bank fees. And you find this type of, where does this $115,000 go? Because it's not in my checking account, right? Where does it go? You can find it on the balance sheet. All right. So what we've done is to figure out your break even, it is going to be your overhead. Your overhead divided by your gross profit percentage. Now, numbers don't mean a lot to me, but percentages do. So here on this percentage, to figure these out, is the gross profit, $290,000. I divide that by 550,000, which is my revenue, which gives me a 53% gross profit. Now, whether 53% is good for your company, I don't know. I mean, different gross profits are different for different companies and different industries. And you can go out there and you can find what type of gross profit is the standard for your industry, and then hopefully you can exceed that. But in this example, we have 53%. So to recap, gross profit divided by your revenue gives you a percentage, which is 53%. So that means 53% of every dollar that we bring in is profit. That also means that 47%, so every 47 cents of every dollar we get is what it costs for us to do that service or deliver that product. So our break-even number, it's real simple. Your overhead divided by your gross profit percentage will give you a number. So what I would encourage you to do on this video is write these numbers down on your own sheet and then do your own calculations. So for net profit percentage, I did 115 divided into 550. So if you add your net profit, your overhead, and your gross profit, you should equal around 100%. All right, so we have the break even, 175, which is the overhead divided by gross profit percentage. We're at $330,188. So that means this company who makes $550,000 a year doesn't make a profit until they reach $330,189. Now, if you want to divide that out by 12, that'll give you a good number to budget for each and every year. So that number may be shocking for you. Now, I'm going to give you a check over here on understanding that break-even number. But understand, if we decrease the cost, our direct cost, and we bring that down, that will raise the gross profit. And if we raise our gross profit, then our break-even number is going to go down. All right, so over here, I have the 330,188, which is the break-even number for this company. Our overhead is 175,000. And basically the way to check this and go backwards is you take your direct cost that we have over here, your direct cost, which is 47%, take your break even times direct cost is 147, that's $155,188. So what we've figured is, and this is the way I like to play with numbers and keep them simple, is that $155,000 is the amount of money plus the overhead that I need to spend in order to get to my $330,000. So here's the check. Overhead, $175,000 plus the $155,000 equals $330,188. So that's how you figure out your break-even number and run it backwards. Now, of course, if anybody has any questions on this, feel free to put it in the links of this video. I'll respond to it. And this is something where I suggest that you really go in and say, are my profit and loss set up the way that they should be? Because when we start running analytics, we want to make sure that if you're comparing let's say a carpet cleaning company and a carpet cleaning company, that they're putting all the costs in the same place. So if you're looking at your industry standard, you want to make sure that industry standard is placing all the direct costs that you are placing into those direct costs. So it's real simple. Revenue, direct cost, gross profit, overhead, net profit, and then get your break even. So your break even number, play around with it. Say, what if we did $600,000 this year? Well, we know that once we make $330,000, we're going to add in, let's say we do another $50,000. We're going to take 47% of that because we know it costs 47% of $50,000 to do that. That directly is going to go down to the bottom line because the gross profit went up, paid the overhead, which doesn't change. It goes directly down to the bottom line. And this is how you can play with simple analytics, right? This is how you can financially manage your business with a simple formula. And that's by learning your break-even number. So someone asked me yesterday, hey Brandon, I know it's in your book, but tell me what that break-even formula is. And that's such a simple formula for you to realize and get in your mind, $330,000. Now here's the other cool thing about this, is let's say I'm going to add some sort of overhead cost, all right? Let's say I'm going to buy new computers, or I'm going to buy a software program and it's going to cost me $20,000 for the year. Well, I put that $20,000 in there. I raise that 175 to 185, so I'll do 195,000 because it's a $20,000 increase. I'll divide that by 53%, and then all of a sudden I'll see that break-even number go up. And that's when I'm looking at purchasing an asset, right? I'm looking at buying a van, buying a machine. Whenever I want to make a large purchase, I say, where is it going to go? If it's going to go in the overhead, how much more money do I need to earn a month just to break even? Because I'm not in business to break even. I'm in business to make a profit, because that's how I get paid. That's how I pay my employees. And really, the profit is got to be the backbone of what it is that you're focused on in your business, so that you're not that 80% of businesses that are break even or losing money. Right? Small business is way too hard to go through what we go through to not make a profit. So I hope this helps. And sit down, spend some time, run these numbers on your own business. Reach out to me on the Facebook feed and ask me some questions. And of course, all these live videos that I do come from conversations I have or questions people ask me, because if I'm being asked that question by one person, I know somebody else needs that. And that's the purpose of Right Stuff Media is teach what we know, think about it for yourself and what you're going to do in your company, and make it your own. So, Brandon Wright, Right Stuff Media, thanks for joining me today.